From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hello and welcome to Around Foxborough, the show where we talk about the people, places, and things that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Mark Rivard, and I am pleased to have as my guest today, Joe McGee. Welcome, Joe.
Mark, thanks for having me. Thanks to Foxboro Cable for having me as well. I can't wait to talk a little bit more about some exciting stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear, and thanks for joining because I see the hat, McGee Productions. So tell us a little bit. I mean, you do movies. You're a filmmaker. So tell us a little bit how you got involved in that, Joe.
Yeah, so this is kind of a two-part story. I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. And sometime north of 2016, I became an accidental author. I was always, in high school and in my English class, perceived very well, very high regards as far as my writing. Never took it seriously. And then in 2016, I just by accident just wrote a nonfiction book. It was a leadership book called Leadership's Lessons Inspired by a 6-year-old that talks about the transparencies of raising children and raising corporate teams. There's a transparency that exists. And then from there, I kind of went the other way, which is kind of uncommon. Some authors have difficult going from nonfiction to fiction. I was driving down Interstate 84 and an idea went off in my head, and I wrote my first fiction novel called The White House is Fake. Not about Trump, it's about the Dwight Eisenhower, the National Federal Aid Highway Act. And then I decided I want to turn my work into film. So we did short video reenactments of The White House is Fake. Then after we did that, I decided, well, I want to get into filmmaking. This is exciting stuff. And so basically what I do is I'm the writer, director, producer, all my original work. I developed a screenplay and quite simply, we film it. So we've been doing that since 2017.
Wow. That's an interesting Reader's Digest version, but still, it's very interesting for a quick
Yes.
turnaround for 5 years from writing, a nonfiction, book basically, and then all of a sudden now you're making movies. I mean, that's a very quick turnaround. So,
Yes.
so I mean, so you do pretty much everything, right? Direct, produce.
Yes.
Do you even
Correct.
act too? I'm sure too.
I'm sorry?
You act too in there?
I do a little bit, but I'm primarily my passion is writing, directing, and producing. So I have a production assistant for McGee Productions as well, and he helps with cast and scouting, camera B. We have camera B operators. I'm primary DOP, and I basically write, do a little bit of location scouting, but I have a location manager as well. And more recently, right now, we're developing a mafia film called Tony Martone. He's basically like the most feared man in Rhode Island. It takes place in East Providence, Rhode Island, is where the story takes place. And this was kind of came by accident. I dream a lot, and in my dreams, I basically develop my stories around one idea, and then I transpose it into my writing, character development, and then it kind of just spawns from there. So Tony Martone, that particular had kind of a little bit of a dream sense, and I took the story further. So it's going to be we had a couple of production delays. As you know, COVID is in the world now. It's knocking hard. So an actor got sick. We were supposed to film the last scenes in November. It got delayed. Then we're going to do it in December. Another actor got sick. Then we delayed it. And then we're actually supposed to film like right now, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I have COVID right now, so I have COVID sick right now. I'm vaccinated, but I got it, so I had to cancel. So we're hoping by February we'll finish the final scenes in Connecticut, Mass, and Rhode Island, and we'll hopefully be out maybe April. It'll more than likely the vehicle we're going to put it on is Amazon Prime, where a lot of my work goes, and we're going to do a public premiere somewhere in Mass, Connecticut, Rhode Island, somewhere around there, probably in March. Right, probably about a week before it goes on stream, we'll do a public premiere.
Oh, that's great. Are you going to be as a guy who was born right on the Rhode Island line in Rhode Island, any scenes around, Federal Hill? Are you going to try maybe?
I have another friend. That's a great question. He did film his film in Federal Hill, but my majority of my filming for this particular film kind of pertains to the East. We're actually filming in East Providence, right on Warren Avenue.
Nice.
We know a lot of people down there, so we film a lot over there. There's some B-roll and drone footage over nearby the harbor and the water, kind of near the East Providence area, but no Federal Hill for this one. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what's great about making movies. You can scout, if you have a good location manager, like you said, you can scout a place, make it look like this could be downtown Providence. This could be East Providence, but you're in Connecticut, just the feel,
Exactly.
the look and everything. People don't know. They're watching a movie. They think it's what it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, well, you're actually going to see in the beginning drone footage is we did some B-roll in Mass, but it's supposed to be in East Providence. But there's a lot of similarities, where you go between different areas, so it's all relatively the same. Obviously, if you're not making the film and you're somebody watching, you go to IMDb, you can find out where they really filmed it. But a lot of productions do that, so it's not uncommon. Excuse me.
Well, I mean, you're filming in New England, so if you're anywhere near a mill, people know it's New England. 'Cause
That's right.
pretty much
That's
there's
right.
mills all over. So, oh, that's really cool. A mob movie. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, I'm
So that's
really.
what. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I said, yeah, I'm really excited to finish it, and kind of segues into kind of I'm doing this futuristic sci-fi movie coming out. We were supposed to film it last year, but one of my key locations, one of the owners, he had a sick relative down in Florida. He's from the East Coast, so we had to postpone it, filming from last year, and now we're going to be filming it this year. It's called When the Sun Dies, and it's basically about it's kind of futuristic. So there's a big asteroid heading to Earth. It wipes probably about 70% of the population out. There's a former NASA engineer, Eugene Patterson, who survived the blast. And there's a time capsule left by prior colleagues that basically alludes to the fact that the sun is going to die. Now, this is true in billions and billions and billions of years. The sun will turn red, a red blister. This will really happen. But in the time capsule, their predictions, they made it seem like this is not going to be billions and billions of years. There's some environmental changes. This is going to happen in months from now. And they find this 40 years later, and he's got to, pick up the pace, try to save the world. So that the tagline of the film is save my son, SON, or save the sun, SUN. At the same time, his son is in the new world. He's sick. There's not a whole lot of medicine around, so he goes into a coma. So he's trying to communicate with people, try to find medicine to save his son. There's going to be a climax. He's going to make an ultimate decision. He's going to go this way to save his son and be able to be with him, or the end of the world is going to happen. So what do you do? So there's going to be a big climax moment. And on top of all of this, there's an outlawed bike MC gang called Scorpions, who kind of rule this new planet. They're trying to bring members in. They're killing people. So he's got to avoid the bikers, and he's got to save the son and save his son. So a lot going on. So that's coming out. We're going to be filming that very soon.
Wow. That's exciting. I love mob movies and I love sci-fi, so I'm already enthralled right now, and I haven't even seen anything. I'm just the premise. No, that's really. I think that's going to be a little bit more involved in the mob movie. Probably going to have a lot more actors. I would imagine in that, right? Like the gangs and scientists, and so it's going to be a little bit bigger production. You think?
Yeah, there's When the Sun Dies is because there's a couple facts for that, because obviously there's going to be we have these custom biker jackets that I have made, 100% General Later. I have my director vest already. It says director on it, but each actor will wear one. It's going to say like their name on the vest, and on the back it's going to say Scorpions, Connecticut. And so those are all being made, and we're going to need about like 20 or 30 of them. And then of course we need some working like like rat bikes, or like motorcycles. Some will just be parked for show, but we'll need a couple riding motorcycles for a couple scenes where we drive a cop. He's basically pulling a cop with some chains. So a lot of stunt work and a lot of violence, some zombies, some from the radiation.
Oh, nice.
Flash. There's all kinds of this cool stuff in this one. So
a lot more special effects and more makeup, right?
Yeah, we got special effects. So acidic rain, they can't go out, in the general sense, because they get worried about the acid rain. There's radiation out there, so there's just a lot. It's going to pack a punch. It's going to be one heck of a story. So we're going to be filming that in mostly Rhode Island and Mass for that one.
Wow, that's cool. So are you looking for? Let me ask: are you looking for funding? Are you looking for extras? Anything like that?
Yeah,
get
that's a
out?
great question. Yeah, we're always looking for extras. The principal cast is pretty pretty green right now. Obviously, a lot of them I had to circle back to because we originally casted this, a year ago, and then we had to delay it. So pretty much everyone is on board. We may need some extras. We have our executive producers and associated producers right now. We may pick up a few more. But yeah, there's details on the website is savethesunmovie.com, and McGeeProductions.us is my flagship website that talks a little bit more about not just that story, but all the movies that we've done.
Wow, that's great. And I gotta ask you right now, I've always wanted to be like to do that whole Star Trek red shirt thing. So if you need somebody to go in there and die within like 2 minutes without any acting skill at all, I'm your man. I'm
All
your
right,
man.
that's good to know. Good to
Acid
know.
rain doesn't bother me. Whatever you need, I can drop dead like that.
Okay.
That I can do
Okay.
on command. I can do it better than a dog.
I say do it now, but I need you as a host. I can't do that to you now. So
Yeah, I do have to. Yeah, I do have to finish the interview and everything. Yeah, you know. So while we're getting on that, even more, as far as like, what about music and everything? Do you have somebody who scores it? Do you do any of
yeah,
that?
that's a great question. I love music, all kinds of music. My father is actually a graduate of Full Sail University. He is my primary composer. He does all his original work. Mainly, I've had a few other composers, friends, colleagues of mine. For example, Tony Martone, my father is scoring that, but we actually have Alberto Belvia. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. He resides in Italy, and he is an Italian composer doing music for my film Tony Martone. So it's gonna have that Italian flair. I want that authentic
Yeah.
Italian flair. So I'm using him, but generally my father does the score of the music. Like for example, I was supposed to be in Arkansas this weekend before I got rescheduled before I got COVID for a film festival for one of my other films called The Harvard Psychologist. It's basically about an educated man. He's a Harvard psychologist, but he moonlights as a serial killer. Why? Because he's smart and he can do that. And we just won Outstanding Achievement Award in that Arkansas Film Festival. I found that out yesterday. So he did a lot of my music for that film, particularly. My father did.
Oh, congratulations too. That's
Yeah.
another interesting story right there.
Yeah, I got so many.
Becomes...
I got horror, I got psychological thrillers, I got sci-fi, I got mob. I'm just dabbling into all of my favorite genres,
You're hitting mine too. Right on the nose. I mean, that's what I love. That's what I love. No, that is so cool that you get to do that. Yeah. So you got those two coming up. I mean, you said the website, savethesunmovie.com gives you information about that. Do you have a website for McGee Productions as well?
Yeah, it's www.mcgeeproductions.us, not .com. So make sure you do the mcgeeproductions.us.
US. And you're saying that the mob movie that's going to come out sometime in the spring, you're thinking?
Well, provided we don't get delayed to finish our final scenes, we're looking, contacting the venues now because we're filming in a funeral home for a fake wake that we're doing the scene. Because the guy, I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a scene there, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. But we're hopeful that we can get that done in February, probably either the second or third week. So I'm actually editing now the scenes that I did, and hopefully by the time we get to those last scenes, I'll just have to do all that, get the music to my composers, do the final mastering, grading, and I'm hoping, I'd say by April it probably would go to Amazon Prime, and I would say probably end of March we would do a premiere somewhere in New England for that Tony Martone.
That's awesome, Tony Martone.
Yep.
And that scene in the funeral home, are we gonna get to see the funeral director say, I'm gonna do everything, use all of my powers?
Well,
that Godfather scene always gets
what's
me.
funny about that is so Tony Martone, he's the most powerful man in East Providence. So he has deep pockets. He owns the cops. He owns a lot of people, and one of them happens to be a corrupt funeral guy, and he's the one that arranges this whole fake funeral. So they actually pretend he's dead. He gets shot, but he doesn't really get shot. But the funeral guy's in it, so they pretend he's dead, and he comes back from death. And let's just say there's a revenge tale there.
Yeah,
that
nice.
you don't mess with Tony Martone.
No,
So
because he owns everybody.
yes,
His
yes, he
Providence
does.
is his town.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the rival family Amato, Ray Amato, is a rival Don from New York, but he's going into East Providence. He's trying to move drugs into Tony Martone's docks because he
Ugh.
owns the docks. Dock worker notices this. He reveals it to Tony Martone. So with Tony Martone, and this is kind of true with most mafia individuals, most organized crime is at least, you know, in the early stages, in the early years up to more presently, is they try to avoid drugs. They're more money money racketeering, money laundering, gambling. So they don't want to touch that in a general sense. So we kind of in the same lines. But Ray Amato, he wants a piece of the pie. There's no drugs being dealt in East Providence, but he wants to move his product there behind Tony Martone's nose, and it just doesn't end well for Ray Amato.
Mob war. Mob war.
Yes, mob war.
Going to the mattresses.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Joe, I can't wait. I can't wait to see these movies. They sound awesome. And congratulations. I mean, like I said, that turnaround from 2016 to right, all of a sudden now you're doing all these great movies. That's an awesome story. It's a really
It
cool
really
story.
is. And for me, I think my favorite part is when you write a screenplay, you're behind the camera and you're just watching your words come to life. And I think that's the most powerful, most rewarding, most satisfying thing that you could really ask for. And just the way to convey your story being told to the general audience, and you get to see it. I mean, that's amazing.
It's your baby being born.
That's true. That is
Right?
true.
Right?
Absolutely. Yep.
That's great. Well, Joe, good luck on the movies. I can't wait to see him. I'm going to be looking for Tony Martone because you're saying possibly in the spring, so that would be nice. I'll be looking for it on Amazon Prime.
Absolutely.
And also don't
Absolutely.
forget When the Sun Dies, SaveTheSunMovie.com if you want to
Yep.
find out information about that. Joe, thanks for joining us. That was really interesting.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Mark, and for Foxborough Cable. We appreciate the time and support. And thanks for having me, McGee Productions.us. Check it out, follow me, and we'll be seeing you guys soon, I'm sure.
And I'll stay at East Providence just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just stay away from the docks. So they're being
Stay away
watched
from the
right
docks, and I'll be fine. Oh, all right. That'll do it for Around Foxborough. Have yourself a great day.